Pep Talk UK, Pro Beez once again, somewhere in the countryside. I don't know if Dean Whyte was playing polo, but I thought I'd catch up with him and see how the big man's doing.
All is good, man. I'm well, man.
Yeah. You've been low key, man. Hanging low key, man.
No, do you know what it is? I'm just mad busy. It's just mad busy in timings. If the timings don't match, and I've said to you and anyone else, if they're really interested, come to the gym. Pretty simple, not that hard. So people don't want to make the travel, and unfortunately, I'm in there with the boys at the minute, so it's kind of flat out. You know what I'm saying? So just one of them.
Yeah, closing deals, man. I see the deals of the artists, Schema coming through. Big things lined up. I know, last quarter this year in terms of boxing.
Yeah.
Ifni Porter as well, ticking over in the gym nicely, waiting to just bang out.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. We're just kind of keeping him purring, trying to sharpen the tools of him. Hopefully he's out end of October. Got welterweight just signed as well, probably announced that soon. Trying to fight for titles, that'll be announced soon. And I've got another artist probably going to get signed soon. So literally, like I said, they're just flat out busy, you know what I mean? I'm just doing loads of stuff. And the promotional side, jumping on that as well. So hopefully maybe a show to announce close to the end of the year as well. So listen, there's not too much time for dilly-dally and friendly chit-chat and messing about with people, you know what I'm saying? There's a true work, grit and grafting going on. So idleness is definitely not part of my DNA and makeup.
Serious graft, mate. That bloody graft, mate. Fighting graft.
the graft.
All right, man. Onto serious matters. I haven't had the chance to speak to you at length about what transpired at the end of fight camp. The bro Dillian Whyte, Povetkin, big shot for people out there. I mean, what was your immediate response and reaction to
it was
that
a
shot?
Devastating loss for the team, and I think Dill was boxing, very good, and he had him there beat, and I guess you'd look at it like it was that lack of concentration at that time, maybe he probably went into autopilot and switched off somewhat, I'd say, you know what I mean, because obviously you dropped him a few times and he probably thought he had the job done, but the old fox in Povetkin had a great party trick, and I did say before the fight, it was going to be a tough fight, and he'd be planning and setting traps, and I think he done just that, and I mean, he was getting beaten up in there, but he pulled the best shot out of the bag I think he'll ever pull. I can't see him doing any, picking a better and a finer shot to end the proceedings, So I mean, listen, Dill's done great. He's taken it on the chin and just said, listen, obviously I got caught with a great shot, and he wants to run it back. The rematches are virtually about to be announced, I think, this week. So he's got to go in there and make an amends. Make sure he makes the needed adjustments and goes in there and rectifies what was going on. Listen, Povetkin is a seasoned veteran, and it goes to show, You
see Povetkin against a lot of younger fighters where he shows his experience to kind of weather storms and make adjustments in fights, and that's something that Dillian's referred to a lot of times, that he's still trying to pick up experience, not just sit down and then wait for world title shots. He wants to get that experience.
No, absolutely. Listen, he's a work in progress. He's working on the job. He's learning on the job. But yeah, again, what we looked at in there was, we looked at Dillian's boxing IQ, and he was very sharp. He was good. He was jabbing really well, and he was doing some good stuff in there, So I wouldn't be too harsh on him, talking about the experience and him, and at the end of the day, listen, this is the fight game. It's heavyweight boxing, one punch, and I've always stated that it will change the dynamics of the game. You know what I mean? And this was a heart-wrenching one. you know, obviously we've been on the end of, you know, winning, and, you know, Dill's been stopping people and doing something as a team, and he's been victorious. Sometimes you've got to take the rough with the smooth, and obviously that's the rough bit we've had to deal with, and he's had to take it. You know, Dill gives a lot of stick online to people, other fighters, so, you know, he's got thick skin, you know what I mean. The insults I normally tend to give him are quite horrible, and I think normal people probably have to hear what we actually say to each other. People, they know why his skin's so thick, you know what I mean. So it's just one of them. I think he's in a position where he's going to be the butt of jokes for a second, and, you know, he's got to just kind of take it on the chin, you know, and, you know, brush his shoulders off and say, listen, it is what it is. The best of them lose, and it's how they come back, really, that defines them, you know what I mean. He never said he was never going to lose. He said he's a warrior and he's just going to keep fighting. Win, lose or draw, he'll put it all on the line, and that's what he's done every single time, in all the fights. Lucas Brown, Joseph Parker, Rivas, and Hellenius. Even a lot of people was writing off Hellenius until Hellenius beat Kawanaki and knocked him out, and Kawanaki was a top heavyweight contender. Now people are blowing bells and whistles about Hellenius again, but everyone was, you know, saying how he was done, he was finished, because of, I think he lost to, was it Povetkin also? You know what I mean? So it's one of them. It swings and roundabouts, man. Listen, when if you listen to people online, you know, if their opinion counts to you, then it will affect you. If it's just one of them, you know, everyone's entitled to an opinion. It's a sport where opinions are valued to a degree. You know, they're going to have positives, you're going to have negatives. It's just about how you take those and embrace them. You know, if you want to take them on and make them burden you and bring you down, then so be it. But, you know, I feel like, you know, you need to, you know, listen, they're not in there fighting with Dillian. Dillian needs to just either listen to the team members around him and people whose opinion he values. If he wants to listen to them, so be it. If he feels like he's not got much to change and do, and he understands that the necessary adjustments he understands, and he understands what happened in there, why he was caught with that shot, then when he goes into the rematch, he goes in there with confidence, knowing he was ahead on the cards, he was putting on a great boxing performance, and it's just about tightening up. I think there's a few little things he could have done a little bit better, but overall I think he boxed pretty well. He was in command, he was in control, and it's just one of them. He was caught by a blinding shot. I would say, I don't know, you can't say it was lucky, because he was planning to throw that shot. I think the circumstances surrounding the shot was where the luck kicked in terms of the complacency on Dillian's side, because obviously he got a little bit like, you know, I'm in cruise control possibly. So that is where maybe the element of luck probably kicks in. But you know what, listen, in heavyweight boxing, this is what it is. I think any of the top guys, the top 4, 5, 6 guys can, you know, do damage to each other on any given night. At the minute, you've had Ruiz beat Joshua, then Joshua beat Ruiz, Fury beat Wilder on 2 occasions virtually. Obviously, I know one was given a draw, then there was another one. They've got a trilogy to contest. Who knows what's around the corner in that fight? You know what I mean? Today I've read that Wilder's saying, oh, my bicep was torn or strained, that's why I couldn't punch, I couldn't tie my lace, I couldn't scratch my back or my arse. I don't know, it's too much excuses. There's many things. It was the suit, it was my helmet, it was, I don't know, my bird, I don't know, whatever he wants to make up. It's ridiculous. It's just what it is. Let's be men. These guys, you know, they make a lot of money, they put it on the line, and their lives are on the line, and I understand that and I appreciate that. But you know, he just needs to suck it up and just accept it. But let's see what happens in the trilogy. I can't see anything other than a Fury win, to be honest. But you know, it's heavyweight boxing. If he comes and upsets the apple cart, what happens then? Do we have a full fight with those guys? And talking about Wilder, he's been very, very quiet for a long time. You know, he's not been really doing much interviews. He came out of his little his hiding places to make a comment about Dill's loss, and then he's kind of gone. So, you know, maybe he's working in silence, trying to rectify, trying to make changes. Maybe Floyd Mayweather is helping him, giving tips and trying to, you know, help him reclaim his belts and bring the WBC, the green strap, back to United States of America. But, you know, I think he's going to need a little bit more than that, mate. But let's see what happens.
Can you kind of imagine Deontay Wilder doing a shoulder roll against the ropes against Fury? I mean, that would be mad. That would be a mad shock
I wouldn't want to see that. To be honest, I wouldn't want to see him trying to do no shoulder roll. So, you know what I mean? He's a big guy. He's got leverage. Got long reach. Good jab. He's got a powerful right. He needs to use these attributes. You know what I mean? And try and what he needs to do is probably how that fight was dominated was because Fury was able to push him back. And I think that was the difference. In the first fight, he was pushing Fury and Fury was boxing on the back foot. In the second fight, Fury pushed him back, didn't allow him to set, and ruffled his feathers, and that's how he got him out of there. And the only thing he can do is maybe try and push Fury back or sit in the middle of the ring and try and, have a shootout. You know what I'm saying? But if he allows Fury to push him back and dictate the tone again, it's only going to end up one way again. So maybe he might say something else next time.
You've been in the dressing room of Dillian Whyte when he lost that British title fight against Anthony Joshua. He's a resilient guy. What's that whole mood like in general with like Dillian Whyte after such a disappointment? Is he going to be bang up, raring to go for this rematch? I mean, what is his immediate sort of thought process?
No, you can see he's very upbeat. He's mentally a tough chap. And he's been that way, and I think you can see obviously there was some form of he was devastated that he made an error to allow Povetkin to set that trap and get that shot and get the win in essence and get a magnificent knockout, which is going to go down in history as probably one of the best one-punch knockouts you'll ever see. You know what I mean? And him being on the receiving end, I'm sure he's gutted. As many people were. A lot of people around the world were gutted. I've had many messages.
Let's get done by the fly.
Yeah, the flies are out here, man. You see me do a little bob. I was like, up. Like, yeah. So, many people were devastated. You know what I mean? Dude's got a great fan base. There were people who were happy. And listen, you're gonna get that. This is what it is, you know what I mean? Mayweather had some great haters, and that's what he loved. That's how he made his money. A lot of them tuned in to see him lose, and guess what? He retired 50-0. But I think there was too much emphasis on that because he made it so fashionable not to be defeated. I think people, get it confused that these guys are warriors, they're gladiators. They're gonna take losses. All the best guys beforehand took losses and came back and was great. But I feel like Dillian's part of that, and he's creating history in his mindset. Look, if you saw him after the fight, he said, look, credit to my man, he pulled a great shot at the bag and he got the stoppage win, and I didn't see the shot and I was not clean out, but listen, we go again. Kudos to him. Let's run it back, man. Let's get this thing off he just wants to get back in the ring to reenact revenge, and try and get his WBC interim title and get the diamond belt. And then get his mandatory position back, But he's gonna have to go for a nice training camp again, and just make some slight adjustments. And in those adjustments, I think I can't see Lightning striking twice. Povetkin will not be able to get that kind of shot off again, I'm sure. I think Dill will be more focused, determined, because of the heated backlash he's been getting to a degree. Because obviously you got Andy Ruiz going off on him, but Dill's been smoking Andy quite a lot as well. So, obviously you always knew Andy was going to come back and say something, and it's just one of them. He's got to tough it out. He's got to have that tough skin and just accept what people are going to say and having a laugh. And I'm sure he'll fire back and say his bitch. You know what I mean? Dill's not a quiet chap. Listen. He's got the acid tongue. You know what I mean? So let's see what happens. But the first and foremost, the next step is he's going to go through camp. It's going to be Povetkin and Whyte too, and listen, it's all to play, man. The dice are going to be rolled.
Yeah. I kind of feel like with Dillian Whyte, with all the haters coming out of the woodworks, making their comments, whatever, I think he's going to be more menacing in the rematch. And some fans I was speaking to, they were like, you know what, we like a more angry type of Dillian Whyte, you know, and less civilized Dillian Whyte.
A lot of people said, maybe he was a bit too composed. The older Dillian Whyte would have went out there and tried to steamroll him when he got him hurt. And I hear that. I definitely hear that. Even for myself, I thought that at times maybe he could have pressed on and applied educated pressure and, tucked up and tried to, try and rough him up and manhandle him, try and see if he could have got him out and got the stoppage. But listen, hindsight's a great thing, you know what I mean? So we can all talk about ifs and buts and what we could have done or what we should have done. The history books have been written now. It's what we do going forward in life. and what he does going forward in the rematch, that's going to dictate how the history books are set. Look, you had Lennox Lewis and Hassan Rahman. That was probably one of the notable one.
And that made him King Rahman. He had the crown on the top of his head after. Of course,
you know what I'm saying? And he came back and he smoked my man. And there's a few others, but then you have the ones what didn't do it, like Tony Thompson and Price. He fought him once, he fought him twice, but that was a mental battle with demons and stuff like that, and fitness and other stuff that forward David Price. But Dillian's made up of sterner stuff and different stuff, so I don't see him having any nightmares of that knockout and that particular shot. He's got to keep his mind clear and purposeful and say, you know what, listen, my jab was working, let me go out there and do that, or maybe let me tuck up and bring out the maximum violence, what I say and what I talk about, the can man, and try and get him out of there ASAP. But you got to be smart. You got to apply educated pressure. Listen, the guy is very, very experienced, and he showed that on the night. Listen, as much as we thought he was done and dusted, he wasn't. You know what I mean? So I feel like, listen, Dill was mentally strong enough, and he has the desire and will to be up there with the best of them, and obviously he wants his world title opportunities. So it's like one of them. He's just like, listen, man, I got to run it back. I know where my downfalls were. I know what the mistakes I made. I need to rectify it. So let's just see what happens.
So no talk of this time, no talk of Fury. Other fighters will be entertaining. Straight focus on Alexander Sasha.
Do you know what though? I think I don't know if there was that much talk. Even when I did interviews, I said the same thing. I said I don't think we want to overlook Alexander Povetkin. You don't want to overlook no opponent. It's kind of like if you're fighting someone, it's kind of rude and to say after, like you're talking about like it's a pre-gone conclusion that it's a formality. Nothing is a formality in boxing. People wouldn't tune in if they thought it was that particular fight was going to win all the time, especially heavyweight division, because we know there can be upsets. That's why people tune in and want to watch, because they want to, they're saying, well, look, there is a possibility, listen, if this geezer gets clumped, he's going to be a gunner. So that's what they want to see, you know what I mean? They know who the favourites are, and they're saying they want to be tested. So it's just one of them. Unless you're watching Daniel Dubois fight, actually, then like the guys he's facing, he's definitely going to beat them. They're not going to stand a chance. He's a great talent, mind you, but the guys he's facing, they don't stand a chance. You know what I mean? So let's see. He's got a next fight. He got past all them guys. He's fighting Joe Joyce. Wish those guys all the best, and let's see who wins that fight. You know what I mean?
What have you made of Daniel Dubois' recent WBO ranking? Is it number 2?
Well, listen, I tell you what, hats off to Frank Warren, mate. Listen, he's a fucking genius. He does it. He's got the links. He's done it with the Gypsy King, and he's done it with Daniel Dubois. I've got nothing against Daniel Dubois. I'm just going to tell it how exactly it is. He hasn't faced anyone of note to warrant that lofty position as number 3 in the WBO ranking. Nothing against the kid at all. I feel like he's still got a lot to learn. What is he on, about 14, 15 fights? If he gets past Joe Joyce, which is a tall order, is what we're talking about. One of the most decorated amateurs in the United Kingdom, silver medalist at the Olympics, and he's won numerous stuff, and he's very, very strong. He can take a whack as well. If he gets past him, then he's moving in the right direction. But that fight, I'm not going to lie, I couldn't tell you who's going to win that one. It's a very, very tough fight. I know on paper, everyone thinks Daniel Dubois, he's the next kid on the block, he's going to blow him out of the water and this and that. Well, I don't know if it's the end of October or it's the early few weeks in November. We will see exactly what Daniel Dubois is made up of, and then we'd like to see who he faces next. Obviously, they're talking about matching him with Dillian is a bit, presumptuous in terms, because he hasn't fought any world-class level opponents. He's actually fought, I couldn't even tell you what they are, I'm not going to lie. Larty was probably one of his better fights, and Larty was kind of clapping him on the chops quite a bit. I think he stunned him even, so, and that was a good learning fight for him, I feel. Gorman, I don't think the best Gorman turned up, as Gorman said also. So but that was a credible name on his resume. But I think there's guys he could have faced, especially climbing up the ladder in the UK scene potentially, and seeing what he was made of. Even European guys, I think the guy that pulled out just before the fight they made would have been the perfect opponent, because I heard he was a credible amateur with a great resume, and he would have tested Daniel. So it's one of them. But like sometimes it's about who you don't fight that gets you to where you need to be. It's not, you don't need to take the tough route all the time to get where you're going. And like I said, Frank's been in the game a long time. He's got great links, and he's done a tremendous job with Daniel. So, he's got him there without any of that. So he's got quite a lot of miles on the clock. Still, he's fresh, he's young. What is he, only 23 today, is it? I think he is.
It's his birthday today,
yeah. He's 23. Happy birthday, champ Virgo. Boom, bang. But, listen, I saw the little matchups with Dillian and this and that. It's all over the place, you know what I mean? But listen, credit to them. They're trying to do their thing. They see holes. They believe they can capitalize on. You know what I mean? But yeah, it is what it is. You know what I mean? That's their job, to make a little bit of a noise and create opportunities for their fighters and so on. But they've done a good job. Let's see what happens with that fight down the line, and then we'll start to know what Daniel Dubois is really about.
Yeah, that's going to be a fantastic fight. Juggernaut Joe Joyce, Daniel Dubois. There's nothing like heavyweight boxing, man.
No.
Heavyweight boxing, man. I'm truly excited for what lies ahead. And it looks like we're going to come through this pandemic. Crowds are going to be back. And yeah, man, it's time to turn up.
No, absolutely.
Once more.
Let's get all back in together, man. Get these, get the bums on seats. Get the fans where they want to be, at the arenas, and cheering and supporting their fighters, man.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for that moment when Dean Whyte sings "Sweet Caroline," for the cameras, man.
I'll leave that to some other sod.
Hey, much appreciation, Dean Whyte, Black Box Management.
Thank you.
We out here, cuz. Turn.
No more.
Pep Talk. Pro Beez signing out.